Hello everyone and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm your host, Sandra Siepak. Today our special guest on the show is Mayor of City of Ventura, Mr. Erik Nasarenko. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Great to be here, Sandra.
I'm very happy that you were able to spend some time with us and talk about some of the most important topics here that residents and businesses alike will be interested in hearing more about. Let's start at the top with some of the ones that we have talked about previously between us, the city finances, the water department, the library. These are all some very big issues that we will cover today, and hopefully some more as we have time. But let's let you introduce what you feel is the most important thing you'd like to talk about first.
Well, I'm happy to report to your viewers that the city is in sound fiscal health.
Very good.
We continue to live within our means.
Okay.
We continue to balance our budget.
Okay.
And what that means is very recently we approved the 2017-2018 Ventura city budget.
Okay.
The primary economic engine of the city is what's known as the general fund. Mm-hmm. We are now at an all-time high in terms of our revenue, over $100 million, and what that means is we have additional revenue to help support police, fire, parks and rec, public works. Obviously, we have to continue to spend wisely and prudently, but we're also the beneficiaries of a half-cent sales tax increase approved by the voters in November of last year, which will bring in an additional $10.8 million annually.
And that makes a good amount of difference in supporting some of these important issues that we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
When we talk about city finances and the amount of money now that's coming in, how do you divide up what gets spent where? How do you make that decision?
We have professional staff that work on a day-to-day basis, overseen through our city manager. He's essentially the executive who oversees all of our 9 departments. So those departments are Parks and Rec, Water, Police, Fire, and others. They make recommendations to us. We review and analyze those recommendations, and then ultimately we go through a number of budget workshops. It's in those budget workshops, which are all public, which are part of our city council agenda, that we go over where we want the money to go, where it should be earmarked, and what our top priorities are. Okay.
I think, certainly many people would say, well, we need to spend more money on Parks and Rec, or we need to spend more money here within, this particular department. How do you make everybody happy? I mean, it's really impossible, I would assume.
You can.
Yeah.
You have to understand what the core functions of a city are. We call it getting back to the basics.
Okay.
What do residents want from their city? One, they want to feel safe.
Absolutely.
They want to make sure that when they call 911, if it's a paramedic emergency, a trained, licensed paramedic who's also a firefighter is going to respond, and not only respond, but respond rapidly.
Okay.
If there is a public safety emergency, they want to make sure that a police officer is going to get that call and be dispatched quickly. So those are core functions that we prioritize. Okay. We also understand that Venturans want streets that are well paved, that are well maintained. So we have a repaving schedule that we implement. We also have a schedule whereby we try to fix sidewalks that are buckled or coming undone. And then we also have a tree maintenance schedule because residents want the trees trimmed on a regular basis so that the city looks nice.
Okay.
One of our crown jewels is the park system.
Okay.
You look at Arroyo Verde, a large public space, many acres where residents can hike.
Sure.
They can also recreate. There are barbecues, there are birthday parties, and then also we have our beach parks, which are very important. The promenade as well as Marina Park. So we have to maintain the infrastructure and the park so that it's easy.
Well, yeah, so that it's in good shape.
Absolutely.
Right. Because not only do you have to make the residents happy, we have a big tourism group that comes out here every single year, all throughout the year, I should say. You want to make it as appealing as possible so that they want to come back. And many people, of course, love it here. So that takes money.
It does. You're absolutely right, Sandra. We are fortunate to have a Ventura Visitor and Convention Bureau that is outstanding, led by Marlis Oster, the executive director. I'm sure you know Marlis or have spoken to her. But For example, when I fly out of Burbank and
Right.
I'm going to my terminal, I'll see a Ventura advertisement.
I have, yes.
And it puts us on the map.
Right.
It also brings people to our city along with their tax dollars. But we have so many attractions. The Channel Islands, for example. People can take island
Right.
packer ferries and go out to a national park.
Right.
They can visit the Ventura Botanical Garden, walk up that pedestrian trail. They
Right.
can see world-class theater at the Rubicon. And also they can go to the Ventura County Museum and see exhibits and art. So there's so much here.
There's a lot here. That's why I think people keep coming back, and they bring, of course, their children back. Their children grow up, they come back with their families. This has been, something that's gone on for many years. And I think the reason they come back is because, number one, they like what they see. They like the ability to come to see, the ocean. They love the beach community itself, and they feel very welcomed here, which is a big thing.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
We have a special vibe. We're a Midwestern town
Yeah.
next to the ocean.
That's right. I kind of think that too.
People know one another here.
right.
We like to welcome tourists as well as residents.
Yes.
And we're down to earth.
Oh, yeah.
We're not a pretentious city, and I think that makes us special.
I think no matter where you go in Ventura, people are so friendly and welcoming, and I think that really resonates well. Even if you're, not a resident here or you don't have a business here, but you definitely want to come back because of that. And I think, that makes a big difference for everybody here.
And also our climate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've got fantastic Mediterranean climate.
That's right.
So when people are baking in
That's
the
true.
valley or the Central Valley, they can escape to the coastal climate of Ventura.
It is. It's like no other.
Yes.
It really is. Now, you've been in the mayor's office for a couple years now. I know that there's many things that are very important to you, but what are some of the things on the table that you want to address before you leave office?
Homelessness. We made a major shift in our land use policies about a
Okay.
year ago. And what that means is we now are able to place a homeless shelter
Okay.
in an industrial zone of the city that will also be complemented by support services such as mental illness counseling, rehabilitation services,
Okay.
vocational help. The idea was you want to co-locate where people live with services that the city or nonprofits can provide.
Okay.
So now that we have the basic foundational element, that is the land use policies that allow it to happen, we now need a provider, someone to come in and help fund it, to help organize it, and to help build it. So that's something that I'd like to continue to
Right.
work on as mayor.
Okay, so that's pretty near and dear to your heart then.
It is.
Yeah. Let's also cover the water department quickly too. I know that it quickly is kind of, something that we really can't do, but we will address it just as we can. The water department is very important here to the residents and businesses here in Ventura County.
It is. A lot of people think about the drought being over,
Right.
but for two counties in particular in the state of California, it is not.
Right.
According to the U.S. Geological Survey, there are still 2 counties among the 58 in California that are considered in a state of moderate drought.
Okay.
Santa Barbara and Ventura.
Is that right? Okay.
We are in a unique situation here because all our water has to come from local resources.
Okay.
We don't have the ability to take water from the Metropolitan Water District. We don't have the ability to take it from the LA Aqueduct. So we rely on our groundwater,
Okay.
on the Ventura River, as well as Lake Casitas, all of which are depleted. That's why the city of Ventura continues to impose water restrictions. Fortunately, Venturans get it. They're conserving. They're limiting their water use to only 2 days a week. And
Okay.
they're also, using that spray nozzle if they have to and not letting water just flow aimlessly down the street. But it's something that we have to continue to work on. And
Okay.
one of my goals is a water reclamation facility that will basically take water, reuse it through pasteurization, ultraviolet light, and other state-of-the-art scientific processes and turn it into drinkable water.
That's important. That is good. I know that certainly for the folks who have questions or would want to know more information about some of the topics you're talking about, could you give them the city website?
I'd be happy to. It's recently been overhauled.
Oh, okay.
I think it's easier to navigate,
Okay.
easier to find information on. It's cityofventura.ca.gov. Just one more time, cityofventura.ca.gov.
I think that's important because in the event somebody has more information that they need, they can go there
Absolutely.
and obtain more of that. I know many demands are on your time to tackle some of these important issues, and you know, you can't do everything. How do you delegate some of this out, you know, in the realm of all that you have to do as mayor?
You have to distinguish what is a policy-related issue, which requires your attention, time, and
Right.
resources, versus what's staff-driven and can be delegated to a member of the professional staff.
Okay.
You have to make that distinction. Is
Right.
it a large land use decision? If so, I've got to do my homework, get
Okay.
up to speed, and consider how I'm going to vote.
Okay.
Is it a individual constituent concern? If so, I need to know it gets routed to the right department. And fortunately, we have great administrative help in the city. So when someone emails me or calls me, I size up the issue and then I ask staff to respond, and they do.
Good. Let's talk about the library real quick too.
Yeah.
I think that's something important, that everybody uses the library of all ages, and I think it's really important that we keep our library in good shape too, and working and helping everybody. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I'd love to. Thank you, Sandra, for the opportunity to do so. Many of your viewers may know or not know that at one point I was on the Library Commission.
Okay.
So this is an issue that's important to me. And in 2009, we closed the Wright Library. But thanks to Supervisor Steve Bennett, the County Board of Supervisors, our Library Director, Jackie Griffin, a new library is poised to open this fall.
That's
and it's
important.
going to be, yeah, it is important. And it's going to be on Hill Street, very close to the Government Center. So
Okay.
it'll technically be on the east end of town.
Okay.
It'll have limited hours initially, but it's going to be in the home of a former Chinese restaurant.
Oh my goodness.
It's being overhauled, it's being repurposed, and they're going to have volumes of books. There's going to be stations for study, and it's just going to be another great resource for the citizens of Ventura.
And that's really something that a lot of people are going to utilize. So it's wise to put money into something like that. That will be for not only, you know, the kids today, but children later on, you know, as the years go by. So there's a lot there for everybody.
You know, a lot of people use their tablets or their
Right.
electronic devices, but people still love an old-fashioned book.
It's true. It's true. And I love to go to the library. I mean, I just think it's such a wealth of knowledge when you walk
Me
in the
too.
door. I think it's something that everybody can go and experience and learn from and take away something that they didn't know before. So it's good to put the money there too.
I agree, and it's also it's a congregation
Yeah.
spot. I
Yeah.
mean, people can come together because it's not just checking out books or
Right.
looking at computer monitors. There are activities.
Right.
There are people reading. There are people interacting with kids in terms of activities. So
Right.
it's also a resource for the community beyond the typical or traditional library book.
Okay. I know we're running out of time, but is there anything else you'd like to cover really quick? One important issue that you may want to address to some of the residents and businesses here in Ventura.
Ongoing funding for the Ventura Museum.
Okay.
Recently, we appropriated $125,000 for a 6-month period to keep it going.
Good.
The County of Ventura matched that.
Oh,
They
good.
voted for $125,000.
How nice of them.
It was fantastic. But we're going to need to go beyond the
Right.
$250,000 to keep it up and running.
Okay.
We hope that they're going to come back with a business plan, with a restructured board that will allow them to be financially sustainable in the future. We're optimistic that that will happen, but that's obviously something we want to keep on our radar screen, and it's also something that really makes Ventura a special place.
Good. Give us the website one more time as we close the show.
It's cityofventura.ca.gov.
Very good. I want to thank you so much for being on our program today, Mr. Mayor Erik Nasarenko. You've been a great wealth of information, and I thank you for joining us on the program.
Sandra, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having
Absolutely.
me.
And thank all of you for joining us on Our Ventura today. I'm your host, Sandra Siepak. I'll see you next time. Thanks.